Hey guys, we're just moving off from outside Mill Hill Test Centre, doing a mock test, hence why we're using a dash cam. We've got a mock test with one of my learners. Moved off pretty fast, and then we've also got a car coming through here where it's quite a tight gap. She could have slowed down a bit there. So that was a minor there for meeting situation. You could have slowed down a bit, and now we're getting into a 20-mile-an-hour section, which sometimes a lot of learners will miss. Even though there's plenty of signs on the floor telling you that this is the 20 zone, some people still miss this because they, so focused on the drive, they might miss simple speed signs like this. So just be wary. Look on the floor as well. There's a lot of information on the floor telling you what you should be doing. And this bus has got its hazard lights on. It's moved off with the hazard lights on, which can get a bit confusing. But if you're not sure what the bus is doing, approach it slowly. And then once you realise what they're doing, then you carry on. And I don't know if you noticed there, but as we went past, there was actually a 30-mile-an-hour sign there, which can very easily be missed as well. But even if you do see it, don't go fast straight away. As you can see around here, it's still quite narrow, still quite tight, especially if there's a big vehicle coming through. So just take your time. Our learner right now is doing probably about 20 miles an hour. It says 15 on the dash cam there, but on the display on the dashboard, it will show that it's doing about 20 miles an hour, so maybe even a bit more. We're taking the next road on the left. As you can see, the rain's getting quite heavy now. So now it would be a good idea to put the wipers on a bit higher, because the setting that it's on right now is not really doing anything to keep the windscreen clear. So our learner's just done that, and now the wipers are doing their job. Still following this bus, which has still got its hazard lights on. Probably doesn't realise, the bus driver probably doesn't realise that they've got the hazard lights on, because it's not a good idea to drive like this, because it can be confusing to other people around. But our learner's doing a good job of keeping a nice distance between her and the bus. Now they've turned left. We're going straight this roundabout, so we just have to deal with any cars, any other vehicles that are coming onto the roundabout. And now it's nice and clear, which has made a move. And you notice there she hasn't gone all the way around. You don't have to go all the way around. I've heard a lot of examiners say to learners after the test, you didn't need to do all the way around like that. I've actually even had some people fail because they've tried to go way too far left to try to make the way around the roundabout. And I'll put a video up of a learner that did that on the test, on the real test, and it failed because they went too far left as they tried to go around the roundabout. So just be wary of that. You don't have to go all the way around if you don't need to. We just pulled over, and then now we're doing waiting to move off again, waiting for a safe gap. So remember, in these situations, you're not just looking for cars that are behind you, you're also looking for any vehicles that are coming from ahead of you as well. So when you move off, you are going to move off a bit towards the right. So if any vehicles coming towards you, you want to make sure that you're not going to get into their path. So if that's the case, you're better off waiting until it's completely clear, and then look around, especially over your right shoulder, just before you move. And then when it's completely clear like this, it'll be a good time to move, which is what I'm hoping our learner will do in a second, because it is looking quite clear now. And then she's off, so yeah, well done for that. So around here the road is nice and wide, not too much going on, but still want to be paying attention the whole time. Especially when you come to this sort of crossing here. It looks quite, right now it's quite empty, but there's a nice little park on the left and on the right as well. So on a nice like warm day, you're gonna get a lot of pedestrians hanging around there trying to cross. So make sure you're paying attention to them. And if there are any people waiting around, just slow down, and if they're waiting to cross, just stop and let them cross. So not really much in the way of road markings here, but now we can see that there are hazard lines on the floor letting us know that we're coming up to a junction or coming up to some sort of hazard, and we're going to turn left at the end of the road. So the learners position themselves very nicely to the left. Well done. Then as we approach the next traffic lights, we're turning right at the next traffic lights. So if you do your test in Hendon as well, they do come down here as well, and they will turn right at the traffic lights. But for some reason, a lot of learners fail here. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we're turning right, but right now you can see it's quite busy there. The car in front is not going forward enough, but now they're moving a bit more forward. So I'll be very careful of going forward there. So now you see the arrows come on to turn right, but our learner is still waiting. And somebody has actually beat them from behind to tell them to move on. And now they're starting to move. So that was actually a serious fault there for response to traffic lights. Because there was a green arrow. Remember, if the green arrow is there, it shows you that the other cars that you're waiting for will have a red light. So there's no need for you to be waiting in the middle anymore. You should actually start moving and finish your turn. But our learner didn't see that on that occasion. Going through here, this is quite a busy area as well, because you've got a lot of people coming out of those supermarkets. You've got two supermarkets on the left there, and you're going into an industrial estate as well. So a lot of traffic coming in and out of these businesses, so just be careful. Into a sharp bend. And we're turning left at the end of this road. And straight away onto a width restriction. So here you want to be in gear 1, going really slow, checking both sides as you're going through. And if you're not sure the size of your vehicle, you need to be very careful. You want to practice in the vehicle that you're going to take your test in, because you want to make sure that you can gauge how far you are from the left and the right. We're turning right this roundabout here. Nicely done, and back to a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Remember, look on the floor a lot. There's a lot of signs that will tell you what you need to be doing on the floor. These traffic lights were turning left. So you want to be looking at the traffic lights, even if you're quite far away. You want to look at them, because then that will show you when you need to start getting ready to move off. And then making sure that the light's still green before you go through. Checking the speed limit on the left, and you see that it's changed back to 30 miles an hour. But even though it said 30 miles an hour, you can't really go 30 miles an hour if it's not safe to do so. Right now it's quite narrow, so you've got cars coming from the other side as well, making it quite difficult to go fast. So our learner's doing well to maintain a good speed for those conditions. So ask it to pull over on the left. Doing the independent driving from here. So here I've asked the learner to turn left at the next roundabout and then take the second road on the right and then take the second road on the right again. So left at the roundabout, second road on the right, and then after that you take the second road on the right. So remember, if you're not sure where you're going, you can ask, even if you've heard the instruction while you're parked up and you're not 100% sure what the examiner's asked you to do, just ask them to repeat it again. Sometimes they'll have diagrams that will show you where you're supposed to be going. Sometimes even draw them out for you, depending on what's happening. So if you're really unsure, just make sure you ask, and then remember to ask again if you're not sure once you start driving where you're supposed to be going, because it's not a memory test, it's just for you to, you know, test. They're just testing to see if you can actually still drive safely on the independent section. So once you've heard the instruction, it's about you just getting the car ready, getting into gear 1, looking all around, and then moving off when it's safe. So if there are cars going past, just keep waiting, and then if you've waited for a while without checking over your right shoulder, just make sure you check your right shoulder just before you move again to make sure it's safe. Because you don't want to leave too much time between checking over your right shoulder and actually moving off. So I think here I was still explaining to my learner which way we needed to go, because she was a bit confused about the directions, which is fine. Sometimes it takes time to actually explain that. Don't feel scared to ask them to repeat themselves again, because they will tell you. So don't feel nervous to ask. They're not going to bite your head off. So now we're moving off. So we're approaching the roundabout. Remember, here we're going left first exit. And you see the sign for 20 miles an hour. So remember, we're supposed to be taking the second road on the right, but our learner's gonna turn right here. Look how she turns as well. She's gone straight on the wrong side and turned right. So there's cutting the corner, but then she's cut the corner so badly that she's on the wrong side of the road. So that was another serious fault for turning there on the wrong side of the road. So because she was supposed to turn on the second road, that would have been the first right. But now, because she's gone the wrong way, I've had to tell her, okay, don't worry about what I said to you earlier. I need to actually direct her now, because otherwise she'd get confused or go the wrong way. So now I've told her at the end of the road we're turning right. So she didn't fail there because she went the wrong way. She failed because she turned too sharply and went on the wrong side of the road there. But if you go the wrong way on the independent drive, you're not going to fail the test. It might make it difficult for you because you might go somewhere where they weren't expecting you to go, or somewhere where it's a bit tricky, but if you still do that properly, you're not going to fail the test. The main thing is that you let people know where you're going, and then you go the way you're telling people that you're going. So now we're going straight at this roundabout. Quite a narrow road. You're going to have a lot of meeting situations here if it's busy. So she's done well there to stop before that car, giving herself plenty of room. And then here it's about checking the right mirror when it's clear, and then moving off without getting too close to that car on the left, which is what she's done really well. And the car there has pulled over for us, which is very nice of them, thank you. You can see here the conditions are changing constantly. 1 minute it was pouring down with rain, now it's a bit sunny, so you just turn the wipers off, because if you leave them on for too long they can get dry and it's going to damage the wipers. So it's best to just turn them off, and they can be quite distracting as well when they're on, when they dry. And then at the end of this road we're turning right, so this used to be a roundabout here, so it looks a bit confusing, but a lot of instructors will say that, or examiners will say that this is not a roundabout, just so that their learner is not confused, because if you look at it, it looks like a roundabout. So normally if they say to turn right, you expect people to go round towards the left and then go back around towards the right, but you actually want to turn right to where the white car's just gone now, because it's not a roundabout anymore, so you just turn right like the way our learner's just done now. So it's reasonably quiet at this time, not too much going on, but this road layout can be a bit confusing because this supposed to be another roundabout as well, but it's just a matter of following the road round, looking at the floor markings showing you where you're supposed to be going. And if you look at the sign on the left, there's another sign telling you that it's now 30 miles an hour. But you still don't want to go too fast, so there's another sign on the floor saying slow. So it might get confusing. You might see a 30 mile an hour sign and then you see a sign straight away saying to slow. Remember, the slow doesn't mean, there's no number associated with the slow. It just means be careful basically as you drive through there. Something's coming up that you need to be paying attention to. It might be a bend, it might be a junction, it might be a crossing, but something is there that you need to pay attention to. So don't go too quick. At the end of this road we're turning left. It's a bit of a weird junction here as well, because you don't really turn left, it looks like a straight, but you need to signal here to turn left, because you can go right or you can go towards the left, which is actually, in this situation, it's kind of straight, so you just drive this way, but it's actually a left turn onto that road. And here's very narrow, especially if there's cars, or especially if there's a bus coming through. So our learner's doing well to slow down a bit for those vehicles that are coming from ahead. So at the moment our learner's keeping left, because I think we're going left at the traffic light and then immediately right afterwards. So if you're this far back, you want to be keeping now on the lights to make sure that they're still green as you go through, but at the moment they're changing back to red and the car in front is stopping anyway, so it made it nice and easy for our learner to stop. And you see the distance just left between the car in front and her, which is very good. You don't want to get too close. You want to be able to see the car's tires touching the floor. If you can't see that, then you're definitely too close. So you want to make sure the next time that you're stopping that you're giving the car in front a bit more space. And as you wait in here as well, the lights can be a bit confusing if you're not careful, especially if you're the first car. So the lights on the left and the lights on the right will change independently, because the lights on the right might be green, but then R1 will still be red. So as you approach it, especially if you're the only car around, you want to be very careful and you want to be looking at your light as well. So the car in front of us probably saw that green light a bit late, because maybe they're paying attention to the other light. And then now we're turning right straight away, so our learner should be aiming straight for the right lane. Could have been a bit more right there. Signal right as well from early and then turn in. So our learner could have been a bit more right. It wasn't really a big deal there because there was no one around, but if she was a bit more right, it would have been a lot better for her, especially if there was other people around as well. Now onto this busy high street. Going downhill here is not too difficult, but sometimes going uphill can be a bit tricky. But right now we're going downhill, and for some reason in this junction here you got a lot of people that will turn in front of you, even if you're really close. So I don't know why they do that there, but just mind out for that. Again, a nice distance between her and the car in front. It's well done. And I believe we're turning left here, if I remember correctly. Yep. So sometimes I might go straight down. We decided to go left on this occasion, so we can do a few more junctions and roundabouts. So stay tuned for that. On this section, for some reason, a lot of learners try to go fast here. I mean, if it's clear, it's okay, you can do 30 miles an hour, but sometimes we have cars coming down. If you have another car coming down, I wouldn't recommend doing like the top speed here, which is 30 miles an hour, because there's not much room for that, especially if there's a bus coming down, or if there's a van or another vehicle coming down really fast towards you. You want to reduce your speed a bit there, but for some reason, a lot of learners don't do that there. So just be wary on that section there. Then as you go further, the road opens up a bit more. Then you can think about going a bit faster, but you are going to be approaching a roundabout at some point soon as well. And here we're going straight second exit at the next roundabout. See there's cars coming from the right hand side. And then once it's free, learner's gone. Mirror, mirror, signal left, and then come off. Make sure to cancel your signal as you come off as well, so that you don't mislead other drivers around you or other road users. Here is very tight, that's why that van's waiting there, because there's not enough space for both vehicles to come through, so he's done very nicely to wait for us. And we're taking the next road on the right just after this pedestrian crossing. So she stopped really early, so she should have stopped a bit forward, but you see, watch how she turns now. She can turn completely on the wrong side. I know there's a vehicle on the left there. She could have gone a bit more left, but again, she turned on the wrong side completely. Stopped a bit too early as well. It's weird because on the lessons she didn't do this, so that was a bit surprising. She did actually pass a real test, which I'll upload soon as well, so watch out for that. I'll put the link on there as well. But yeah, on the lessons she didn't do that, so that happens sometimes with learners. They'll do on the mock tests, they'll do some weird things that they don't normally do on their lessons. So I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things that happens in life. So just be careful of that kind of thing. Here, very narrow. If it was like a school day, this wasn't a school day, it's just during the summer holiday, so it's quite quiet around now. But if it was like a school day, it's a very different environment. It's very busy there. Then turning left into this little side road again, very narrow. Might get into a potential meeting situation straight away, so be ready to stop if somebody's coming down the road. And we're taking this right here. Again, you see, cutting the corner again. Not as bad as before, but still cutting the corner. Which I found very strange that day, because it's not something that a learner normally does. And when we went back to talk about it afterwards, she was surprised herself that she was doing that. At that time she done okay, she went on the side of the road, but still could have gone a bit more forward. So remember, for the reference point for turning right properly, you want the side mirror to be in line with the center line of the road that you're turning into, and then you make your turn. Don't turn before that. If you turn before that, you're more than likely to cut the corner. Just doing a quick pull over before driving on again. This is a bit of hilly here as well, so you want to make sure you got your biting point before you try to move off here, otherwise your car will roll back. She done really nicely there, no roll back at all, so that was good. And turning left here. So remember, this area is still 20 miles an hour. Got a meeting situation there. She's done really well to pull over. Well, not really pull over, but move over a little bit for that car or that van coming through, and giving herself plenty of space between her and the parked car on the left there, which makes it much easier to move off again. So that was really well done. Coming to the end of this road, we're turning right, and you notice the lines again. These will tell you that you're coming to the end of the road or coming to some sort of hazard, and then another reminder of what the speed limit is here as well. So she got there, it looks like it's quite busy. Just about being patient, making sure you look before you move, make sure you're happy that when you go it's safe. Don't go if you're not sure. Even if you're like 98% sure, just keep waiting. And then the speed limit has changed now back to 30. And then at this roundabout we're turning right. So this is one of the roundabouts I was talking about earlier, where one of my learners tried to actually go too far left when they were turning right to try to go around the roundabout without going in the middle, and they actually got serious for that because they were going so far left that the examiner thought they were going to go and hit another car on the left there. So be careful. So like now just go kind of straight and then make a turn like that. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to swing all the way left to go around it. And then now we're coming up to a roundabout where a lot of people miss for some reason, but luckily there's a car in front, and there's also the signs there you can see. But if there's no cars, a lot of learners will miss this roundabout and realize it too late. But our learner has seen it because there are other cars there, and there's also signs, so she's stopped for the car that was going round. And then that car's getting blocked, so she's gone. So turning right. Which was great. And then taking the next road on the left. And then left again. So for a lot of people, turning left is not too difficult. It's the turning right that some people struggle with. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of my learners do struggle sometimes to turn right. And then at the end of this road, we're turning right. We're just looking for somewhere to do a parallel park, and we will find a space in the next couple of minutes, so you can see how she does on that one as well. Just being patient at the junction, making sure that it's safe before moving out. A lot of learners get scared of hesitation on this kind of junction here. You're better off being safe. Don't worry too much about hesitation. More people fail for going out too early than hesitating, so just bear that in mind. Taking the next right. Cut the corner a bit again there, but it was quite a narrow road. So cutting the corner is allowed sometimes. Let's say there's a car parked on the left side as you're turning in, and the only way to go into that road is without hitting that car is to cut the corner. Then that's what you have to do. But if the road on the left, if the lane on the left is completely clear, you shouldn't really be cutting the corner for no reason. You will get a fault for that. Then here we're turning right. Nicely done, and there was a sign before telling us that it's actually a 30-mile-an-hour road. Pedestrian poking out of nowhere there. We're pulling over on the left for our parallel park. So here the examiner will be explaining what you need to be doing. Say we're going to pull up beside the car next to us there, and then use the space in front to do the parallel park exercise, finishing within 2 car lengths and finishing parallel. Just come side by side, and then here you should be going straight into reverse so that people around you know what you're doing. And don't get distracted by those beautiful trees and the leaves swinging in the wind. So you want to stay focused on what you're doing, looking all around before you start reversing, so that you can do it safely. Okay, so we started off nice and slowly, which is good. Turning left gradually. And she spotted the bus coming in, which is very good for her to stop there, because you don't want to keep moving if there's vehicles going around you. Then make sure you look all around again before you start moving off, before you carry on reversing, because you see there's another car going past, so you don't want to start reversing if they are going past as well. And I think she started turning left bit too early there, which is why she's a bit wide. Probably can't tell in the camera that well, but she is a little bit wide and it's going back quite a bit there. Turned in towards the left, but she didn't turn right, which is now the back of the car is quite sticking out quite a bit. She's trying to bring it back in, but she's not really taking her time to think about what she's doing here, which is one of the issues that we worked on quite a lot in the lessons. She would get into a state where she's trying to do it quickly and trying to finish off quickly and get out of there, but really in this situation you want to stop and think about what you're trying to get the car to do, because if you're doing it too much and it's not really working, the examiner will at some point say, okay, let's just drive on please. But if you take your time and really think about what you're doing, most of the time you find that you can actually do it. So I would advise you to just take your time, because there she finished off quite wide actually. The back of the car was still really wide, so she got a series for control there. And you're just turning right. Then at this roundabout we're turning right. So even if there were no cars here, you want to approach this in first gear. Occasionally people have tried to approach this in second, but there's a hedge on the right there which makes it really difficult to see what's going on the right hand side until you get really close. So you want to approach it in first gear, and then when it's safe you can move off like that. If you approach it in second, it's going to be very difficult for you to do it in a safe way. You approach it too fast and you're probably going to have to stop as well, so you can, you know, control the car properly and check the road properly. But first gear is best for that one there. It's on a hill as well, so use first gear. Turning right, just position herself into the box nicely. So she could have actually turned here. That car was quite far away, but she waited for the car. She got a minor hesitation there. She could have gone. But position wise, she's done really well to like position herself a bit forward, so that the car on the right of her now trying to come out of that road has no confusion about what she's trying to do. Because some people will stop too soon and then the cars on the right will think, oh great, they're letting me come out, and then they're going to start coming out in front of you. Now it's going to be very difficult for you to turn. But if you position yourself like the way our learner's just done now, there's no one's going to get confused. So well done for that one. But you see now, she missed a chance earlier, but now it's a lot of cars. This doesn't mean she should try to move now, because then she will get a serious fault. If you realize before that, oh, I could have gone before, don't then try to make up for it by going when it's not safe. Just wait for another safe gap. You will get another safe gap like she's got now, and then you make your move. It's all about remaining calm in that situation there. And then now it's just a matter of finding a safe place to pull over. Which is what she's done, and that's it. So here we just talked about what happened on the test. She did pass her road test, which is a few days later, or a couple of weeks later actually. So I'll put the link for that in the video as well. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.